Hi, I'm Swathi. I work here at Everything Design as a content writer.
I'm Sanjana, a lead designer at Everything Design, and in this video, we're going to talk about
Why branding is essential for cybersecurity firms. If you look at the current landscape, there are two categories of players in here. One are the legacy players and the other set of people are the growing businesses. The legacy players are riding on their brand equity for over the years, and this has been working for them throughout the business lifespan.
Real challenge lies with medium and small size companies who are completely capable of undertaking enterprise grade security, but enterprises don't want to buy from them because they lack one thing, which is a brand. The problem with SMEs is that they either don't know that they need branding, what value branding can add for their company, or they think that product equals brand. One of my favorite definitions of branding is that if a brand is making impressions on your customer, then branding is impression management. One of the more compelling reasons for considering branding is to differentiate yourself in the market beyond price with the goal of making it stick in the minds of your customers. At a high level, branding is balancing what your offering is and how it is presented to your customers based on their B2B buying journey, where in the market your positioning lies, what are things your customers care about and how the offering provides it to them, how the sales, marketing, management and other teams align for one cohesive takeaway that your customers cannot miss. Most companies in the cybersecurity landscape will turn to fear-based approach and think that creating this urgency will convert leads into buyers quicker. But at the very least, what this is doing is it's making prospects associate with your brand in a very negative aspect.
This is an industry where everything that you're selling is essentially something invisible, and that is only achievable when your branding is crystallized in a manner that leaves no room for that gap.
Now, if we had to weigh the pros and cons of this existing conventional fear-based approach, the pros would be that fear-based approach makes it seem familiar and safer for buyers, where they will act fast and pay premium prices because it signals that these companies know what cybersecurity is. Usage of shields or any other security-led wording or verbiage in the logos or the names makes them feel instantly that yes, this is what cybersecurity is supposed to be. Even the use of blacks, neon greens and neon blues makes it much more familiar and easy to associate with as a landscape. Apart from this, conventional positioning fits RFP templates and checklists that buyers already own and use, making it easier for administration purposes. The cons of this approach is that everybody ends up sounding and looking the same, and the only thing left to differentiate by is to undercut competition by price. It also results in buyer fatigue, overextended buying periods which do not convert. In a sea of MSSPs, Lumura wanted to cut through the clutter and provide clarity to growing businesses regarding their cybersecurity posture, and that is exactly the positioning that we built for them. Non-technical decision makers like CEOs or CFOs check out of the process if the communication gets too technical. To avoid alienating CEOs and CFOs, for Fortuna Cisc, we built a section that talked directly to these job roles and the business outcomes associated with them. Not to mention that talent acquisition gets harder because nobody wants to work for corporate clones. With a distinctive look and feel, along with a very clear positioning, Fortuna Identity ensured that it's not just looking for talent, but for experts to join its company. Any company that wants to successfully reach their intended audience effectively must do branding. So for example, Fortuna Identity, an MSSP for IAM solutions that began in 1993, decided to rebrand for relevance and reposition themselves for better talent acquisition. Whereas Fortuna Cisc, an enterprise-grade MSSP provider, was a new inception and they started off with their branding first to establish their business. On the other hand, Channel X renamed to Lumura to keep up with the evolution from a cybersecurity distribution to a solutions provider. Predominantly, we have a set process that we follow through and through, but based on the scope, the needs, or the requirements of the project, we may add a few more steps. The process starts off with discovery and research, where we go through all of the material that your team has provided us, be it the offerings of your company, the kind of approach that you have, what type of customers you go after, or even the kind of benchmarks or the competitors that you look up to. Here, we also make decisions about what are the objectives or the goals that we set for the overall project and how the success is going to be rated. Beyond the technicalities of the services or the product offerings that your company provides, we also look at the business vision and the purpose that the leadership or the founding team had behind the whole company. Apart from this, we also look at the competitive landscape, what to do and what not to follow in terms of the best practices or the standards that are generally required by your company and what the buyers are looking for as well. Once the findings and insights are in place, we strategize the overall direction, approach and positioning.
Now, when it comes to messaging, there are two key elements we look at. Of course, one is the what aspect of things, and the second would be how do we bucket them into consumable pieces of communication. Now, the objective behind all of this exercise was twofold. One, to make this brand come out in the market as something new, something unmissable, and secondly, realign all of their business vision to where they are headed. And this idea in a concept form is what we carry forward in the naming exercise as well and the tagline as well. In the naming front, we kept the business's vision as well as the concept at the center, and we took this forward in the form of a tagline that crystallized that particular thought in a business sense.
The logo design is the first step in the visual element of the whole process, where we symbolically represent the conceptual idea that we've built, and this then becomes the identity of your brand. Then we move into the brand design, where we comprehensively extend the visual look and feel with a lot more deeper interventions such as motion and sonic identity, employer branding, physical touch points and collaterals, which are essential for your business's day-to-day functioning. Then we steer into the website design and development phase of the project, where we focus on website-related touch points such as interactions, layouts, typography, the graphic design that goes on to it, any other animations or interactions that may be required to communicate your business's offerings and simplify them so that all decision makers are on the same page. That brings us to the brand launch, where we create a rollout plan that clearly defines what the launch is going to look like. Starting off from the launch videos to social media presence, a logo unveil, any teasers, external or internal communication, all of that defines a very successful brand launch. Lumura participated in GISEC, which made it the perfect platform for a brand launch, reinforcing their positioning with the strategic visual assets that we chose for them. Be it the logo, the boot design, the t-shirts that they wore, or even the color decision that we took early on in the process that made sure that they stood out in the sea of sameness.
Every cybersecurity firm is solving a unique problem with a unique point of view.
Identifying this unique point of view and amplifying it starts by associating with the right partner.